BTL, coming at you.
Show with a sneeze.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome once again to BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Matthew, how you doing, man?
Oh, that was some professional podcasting there because I was sneezing to open the show 100%. I was gearing up for mid-sneeze, and all of a sudden I saw the screen slide across, and I made it go away with some Jedi mind tricks.
Your allergies are whooping on you.
But I am off to a great start. I was going to sneeze, Mark. But no longer. We're good. I don't know. I can't believe I didn't see these numbers before. Now I am mesmerized by them because there's already two things that I've come up with that are just mind-blowing on this. Mind-blowing.
We're going to talk about that. First of all, good show today. We're going to have Brandon Card on, who's having a pretty decent season on the Elite Series. Currently 11th in the Angler of the Year standings. We're going to have him on live from the water, Matthew, as you number crunch over there.
Really?
Yeah, he's going to be at, I believe, Watts Bar. Have you ever been to Watts Bar?
Where is it? Is it in Tennessee?
Yeah.
I've had a few drinks on the shores of Watts Bar. I have watched a jackpot take place on Watts Bar, but I have not. I have not fished it.
Too much information. So
I got drunk on a patio outside Watts Bar about 3 years ago.
Probably not the same location. All right. We're going to have him on here in about 10, 15 minutes, and hopefully you'll have a good Skype signal, and we'll get his take on everything that he's doing this season and the remainder of the season. Matthew, we're going to do this. We're going to get into these numbers, but I want to do this, and I don't even remember if I opened the show or not. Did I say this where we're going to talk about bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about? Did I say that this morning?
I was trying not to sneeze, Mark. I wasn't paying attention.
I cannot recall if I said that. Well, today is one of those days, because I'm going to tell you something, Matthew. I saw something last night, and I'm going to show it to everybody. And for those people that don't want to see this, so be it. It's about 4 minutes. It's about 3 to 4 minutes. But it's probably one of the most just touching, I don't have the words to describe what happened when this went down. I'll say this much, Matthew. It's already got almost 3.5 million views in probably less than 10 hours.
Okay.
Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
Absolutely none.
I am. I have been drug in to the America's Got Talent scenario.
Gosh.
Okay, and this thing launched last night, and this is probably one of the most amazing things. And here's the other thing: I know there's a lot of anglers that are very active in autism, and trying to help with it and really support people with autism. And dude, I'm just gonna roll it and I'm going to let this do the talking, and then we'll get back into the bass fishing.
Okay.
It really, really touched me, though.
Sounds
okay?
Good.
All right.
Let's hear it. Let's see it.
Just a little bit about Cody. Cody is blind and autistic.
Oh.
Wow. We found out that he loved music really early on. He listened and his eyes just went huge. And he started singing. And that's when I was in tears, because that's when I realized, oh my gosh, he's an entertainer. So through music and performing, he was able to withstand living in this world, because when you're autistic, it's really hard to do what everybody else does. It actually has saved his life, playing music.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, we'd love to hear you. Go for it.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Go on, Cody. Go on. there's going to be like 20 film cameras on you. Ready?
Yeah.
Go. Boom.
In my life and time, I've sung a lot of songs and I made some bad rhymes. I've acted out my life on stages, 10,000 people watching, yeah. But we're alone now and I'm singing this song to you. I love you in a place, oh, there's no space or time. I love you from my life. You're a friend of mine. But when my life is over, song to you. And I'm singing a song to you.
All right, man. That got to me. Wow. That really got to me last night.
Why did it get to you? It's impressive.
It just did. I don't know. I don't know what came over me. It just really, really got to me.
Gosh, you're
Soft
just becoming
stuff,
a
man.
softie. Your feelings are getting hurt. You're crying during America's Got Talent.
How amazing is that? I mean, we talk about amazing things.
I think isn't that one of the things a lot of times people with like certain disabilities are able to sing but not talk.
He's blind too.
Yeah. That's a hell of a
I have seen some amazing things, but that right there was probably the most amazing thing that I've seen, just from a talent standpoint and the challenges that this guy had to overcome. Obviously, he's talented. And did you see the response on Simon Cowell and all the other judges' face? They were shocked.
Yeah. No,
and then the emotion got on it. Yeah. So a cool way to kick off the show today. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to have Brandon Card on here in about 5-10 minutes. All right, Matthew, you're over there crunching numbers. What you got?
Well, explain to the viewers what you printed off just moments before we went live.
Well, no, I thought you might have seen this.
No.
All right, Bass Fan crunched some numbers based upon the performance through 6 stages, and it's like total bass
of
caught,
the Bass Pro Tour.
Total weight
Here
caught,
it is.
average bass size.
Total bass caught, total weight caught, average size of bass, and then average number of bass per competition day, average weight per competition day, bass caught, and then they do this shotgun elimination round, total weight caught, shotgun elimination round, and average size of bass, shotgun and elimination round. Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to go back and figure out who the hell's succeeding here based on the Angler of the Year standings, and all the averages and numbers are there.
It's a different game, man.
And these stats really, really point out how it's a different game. Here's the first thing that sticks out. The average size bass. This is, out of all the bass you've caught this year, what is the average size weight?
Is that the last one?
Yeah, well, first of all, no. It's the third one down, because this is overall. Then it goes shotgun elimination rounds.
Okay.
First of all, there's only like 5 that are averaging 2 pounds, because Biffle's 5th with 201, Polinick's 4th with 208, Kelly Jordan's 3rd with 210. Well, how are they putting these in hundreds? Don't they weigh them in ounces? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
That's another conversation.
Mark Daniel Jr.'s 2nd with 216 and Ish Monroe's 1st with 2.25. So he's leading the 80 angler field. His average bass is 2.25 pounds.
And please tell me, how much money has Mr. Ish
Monroe
earned
that doesn't
on
matter.
tour?
Here's the deal.
What's that?
So we'll start from the top. Ish, He's averaging the biggest average for fish. He's 64th.
Yeah.
Mark Daniels Jr. is 34th. Kelly Jordan is 75th. Brandon Polinick is 31st, and Tommy Biffle is 68th. The top 5 guys who are averaging the biggest fish on the BPT, none of them are in Red Crest right now.
Well, it's a different game.
Now you go to total bass caught overall. You have Jeff Sprague leading the way with 387, Edwin with 371, Mark Rose with 359, Michael Neal 358, and Jacob Wheeler 351.
Yeah.
1 and 2 stay the same in the Red Crest standings. Jeff Sprague is leading it. He's caught the most. He's in first.
You're dead on.
Edwin,
it's the same observation.
Edwin is in second. He's also in second.
Yeah.
Mark Rose is in third. Total number of fish caught. He's fourth in Red Crest. Michael Neal is sixth in Red Crest. And Jacob Wheeler is eighth in Red Crest. So the top 5 guys who have caught the most, they're in the top 8 in the Angler of the Year standings. Then you look at Jeff Sprague, who's caught 387 bass for the third heaviest weight, which is 673 pounds. For some reason, that is in ounces, though. 673 pounds, 2 ounces. This is great stuff by Bass Fan, though. Not ripping on that. I'm sure they didn't have anything to do with it. It was probably the way Major League Fishing gave it to him.
Yeah.
So he's averaging about 1.7 pounds per fish. Just over 1.5 pounds.
That's how you play the game, man.
So he has caught 387 pound-and-a-half fish in... where was the competition days? In 21 competition days.
Yeah.
So 387.
What do you...
He's averaging to lead Red Crest through 6 events.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I got that right. 387 divided by 21.
It's 387.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what I said. 387. Okay. I'm going to do it 3 times because that doesn't make sense. It does.
Yeah.
You catch 18 pound-and-a-halfers a day that you compete. And
on average?
Yeah, that's what he's averaging. Through 21 days.
You getting ready to sneeze again?
Yep, mute me.
Good. You're good. All right, there you go.
Great save.
You're good. All right, nice job.
So, anyway, those are some very interesting numbers. And I'm not ripping on anybody. Jeff Sprague's having a hell of a year. He's made $100,000 on the Bass Pro too. It's a whole new game. The glaring thing is you got to catch pound fish.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how big they are.
No.
You just got to catch a lot of pounders.
That's it.
And that can piss people off. I know that pisses people off when we say that. There's a certain group of people, Mark, that get upset when we harp on it. But there's the stats right there.
That's how the game's played.
This is the stats right there now. It's showing. It doesn't matter all that. That is how it's played. It's not a rip on it. Don't take it as a negative. Take it as an impressive that Jeff Sprague in 21 days has caught 387 bass.
He has mastered the game so far.
But they want to highlight all these big fish that they're catching. That doesn't matter in this game anymore.
No,
this is what the stats say. We're almost a season in. So I guarantee you there are people on the BPT who will not listen to this show till afterwards, so I won't get calls and emails about it from them. But they'll be like, why are you talking about how small the fish are again? It's just the fact.
That's the way it is. That's how you play the game. Jeez.
And if I was playing the game, and when I play the game, in the minor league fishing in Oklahoma, you bet your ass I'm catching 13 inchers.
That's what you do, man. That's what you do.
So,
by the way, I want to thank Jim in Indiana for sending this email to me. I gave it to Matt. He read through it, and basically it was a tiebreaker. Did you read through it?
We're really just going to beat a dead horse here because what the point was Brandon Polinick came out with a YouTube video. Minor clickbait, not bad. I'll let him pass on this, but he's like $6,000 tiebreaker with he kind of went a little clickbaity on it. But basically he tied with Scott Suggs after the 2 rounds. And it went to a tiebreaker because they both, quote, tied for 20th. But because Brandon had caught 1 more fish than Scott did, the first tiebreaker is number of keepers.
Not average weight.
Well, if you look at it, if they have no, he's
number of fish.
Yeah, so it's actually the person who has the smallest average weight, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he made it because he caught smaller fish.
No, he caught more.
He caught more fish.
Yeah. Which drove his average down.
Which drove his average down.
Yeah.
So if you have a tie, the guy who catches the smaller fish is always gonna win, right? if you're tied, because if you've caught,
it maybe
if you win,
it might work out like that.
No, there's no other way it can't. If you're tied, if you both have 40 pounds,
what if you have the same number of fish though?
Then I don't know what the next tiebreaker is. But I'm just saying this is the first tiebreaker.
Yeah.
If you don't have the same number of fish, the person who catches the smaller fish moves on.
Smaller, the person that has the smaller average weight per
that's
fish.
The same thing I'm saying.
Okay.
If you move on, if you win the tiebreaker, that would mean you had to have more fish that weighed the same as someone who had less fish.
Okay. Yeah, that's simple math. I get it.
I'm gonna get my press.
Anyway,
I'm gonna get my press pass revoked.
Anyway, Jim, I appreciate you pointing that out.
But
and
yeah, it's
sending that
interesting.
In. So some interesting stuff over on bassfan.com. If you get a chance, go check that out.
And then then it goes down breaks it down into the shotgun and elimination rounds and stuff. So,
all right, well, let's do this. Let's take a break, and hopefully we will come back in a few minutes with Brandon Card live on Watts Bar. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Sleek new design with easy control file. The clearest images underwater with uncompromising range. Live mapping from the touchscreen. View notifications, video, even Google Maps on screen. And for the first time ever, real-time view of fish movements with live sight sonar. HDS Live. New from Lowrance.
I got my power pole down, stuck in the mud in the bottom of the lake, sitting so still in the wind and the waves, could even be a hurricane. I got my power pole down.
AFCO has a new foul weather rain suit called the Hydronaut. A lot of the features that I really like about it first is the speed vent hood. If it's raining out, how a person gets wet is when you run down the lake and the hood comes down. With the speed vent hood, it's going to stay up. It has a camera mount in the pocket on the chest. The Hydronaut has a 2-layer, 100% waterproof nylon shell. If you're interested in a rain suit that has a lot of cool features that's going to keep you dry, you need to check out the Hydronaut from AFCO.
Aaron Martins here. I'm going to be telling you about a new product by Sunline. It's Siglon PE x8. I've been using it almost extensively all year for my frogging, flipping, drop shotting, shaky heading, worming, jerk baiting. It's by far my favorite Sunline braid. I honestly, I don't say this unless I think it's true, but honestly it's the best braid in the market out of any of the braids. Definitely check it out. It's a price point line, $14.95 for 165 yards, and that could last you a whole year, just one spool with using leader material. It's Siglon PE x8. It's my favorite braid, and I think if you use it, it'll be your favorite braid too.
Blue Water by TH Marine, offering LED lighting solutions for your boat, trailer, truck, ATV, and so much more. Engineered and built to be rugged with waterproof and submersible options. Designed for easy installation, Blue Water is available in a variety of colors and styles. All backed by a limited lifetime warranty. Blue Water by TH Marine.
All right, we are back on a Wednesday, ready for our special guest. And you still crunching numbers over there, man?
No, I'm done. I mean, there weren't a whole ton of numbers. It was just the interesting numbers that you just do 1 + 1 = 2.
Small numbers, huh?
Small numbers.
All right.
All you need is an iPhone with a calculator app and
there you have it.
Bass fan article.
Jeez,
you can have all sorts of fun with it.
All right, we are ready for our guest, and he is live from the water from Watts Bar. And
so he's working on his ledge fishing game. I'm assuming for some upcoming Elite Series derbies, where he will make a push to get in the top 5 of the Angler of the Year race. I guess he's not out of it yet.
No,
I mean, there's still quite a bunch of fishing left to do yet this season. So,
yeah, let's go to him. Brandon, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How's it going?
Well, it looks pretty nice on the water right now.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful out here, man. It's actually gonna be really hot. It's gonna be like 93 today. So sunny and 93. Got my fishing buddy Buster with me. He's in the back. You can see him. Also fishing with my buddy Brian McGill. So he's running the trolling motor, and I'm just sitting here taking it easy.
All right, man. Good year so far. Currently sitting in 11th place in the Angler of the Year standings. And, dude, I got to be honest. When I was doing a little research, I told Matt, I go, man, he's been doing this game for a little while now. And go back and I looked at your open record back in 2011 where you had a 9th, a 4th, and a 13th. And that's what really got you into the Elite Series. But you're kind of starting to really be at the forefront of this game, Brandon.
Yeah. I mean, this is my 8th year now, and my career has kind of been full of some highs and lows. And, man, I've been humbled many a times over the 8 years, but had a lot of fun along the way. And just, fishing's one of those deals where, some years it just clicks, whether it's just how the lakes line up with how you like to fish, and then you have a high finish, and you just kind of keep the ball rolling, and that seems to be what's going on this year. But I definitely, looking at the schedule, I was really looking forward to Lake Fork and Lake Guntersville, just for the simple fact that I love to ledge fish, and that's exactly what I did at Lake Fork and hope to do on Lake Guntersville. So we have a couple of weeks downtime here, so I need to be dialed in to the ledge game whenever that rolls around. So, that's why I'm out here on Watts Bar today.
All right. I want to go back to Lake Fork real quick. Was that some of the craziest things and just massive fish that you've seen and been a part of in any tournament?
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, as good as it was during the tournament, practice was even better. I mean, it was like getting to the point to where, Chad Pipkins and I share info. And on that final day of practice, like we were just trying to guess at what it was going to take to even make the cut. And like I wasn't like overshooting it. I said, dude, it could easily take 22 to 23 pounds a day to even get paid. I mean, it was literally that good in practice. And then, we had that horrible lightning storm that, obviously killed the shad spawn on that first morning. And then, just kind of had some different weather. But for the weather that we had during practice, it was some of the craziest fishing I've ever experienced in my life.
Did you think you were going to get to the century mark? I mean, you were less than 5 pounds away from it, and that's one of those deals where, you're not going to go to Winyah Bay and hit the century mark. Let's be honest here. Now, Guntersville there's a potential there, maybe,
yeah.
But not like Fork. But talk about, did you have a moment there on the final day where you were like, dude, I got a shot at getting a belt?
Yeah, no, I definitely did, and even down to my last cast, the fish, as y'all saw on the show, the ledge fish really turned on like the last hour of the day, maybe last 2 hours of the day. And Garrett Paquette, he capitalized on several 7-pounders late in the day, multiple days, day 3 and day 4. And so I was on a big school of fish, that final day, and I saw them on the graph, and there was tons of white bass there. And so I just kept weeding through the white bass, and I just thought, like, any cast, like even down to my last cast, was going to be that 7-8 pounder that I needed to get me that century belt. But that's the second time that I've came within 5 pounds. At Falcon, I missed it by a little over 5 pounds, and missed it by a little under 5 pounds this time. So hopefully, one of these Texas tournaments will line up, and I'll get that century belt.
All right. Talk about, for our listeners, for our viewers, you mentioned you were on Watts Bar. You got the Elite Series coming up on Guntersville. No secret there, the techniques that will be employed. You said you're kind of getting some ledge fishing practice in on Watts Bar. Let's say you're a local guy. You got a tournament coming up on a ledge lake, but you're not going to be able to practice there, but you've got one closer to your home. This is kind of the situation you're in. How does going out and what you're doing today with your puppy and your buddy help you catch fish in 2 weeks in the Elite Series? And what can guys like me and Mark do to get ready for lakes we're fishing in the future by fishing different bodies of water leading up to it?
Well, back when I first started ledge fishing, many years ago, I'm not going to say it was easier, but it was maybe easier to find the spots, because the spots that stood out to you on your Navionics card were the spots where the fish are. And obviously there's still fish there, but that's the spots that just keep getting beat up by everybody. So now it's kind of turned into who can find the most inconspicuous spots. And at Lake Fork, my spots were like 50-50. Some of them were obvious and some of them were inconspicuous. And, it kind of played off each other. I would go, fish some of the community stuff and, catch a couple of big ones. But whenever that would get tough, then I would go, fish the off the wall stuff. And so, that's kind of what we're doing now is, here on Watts Bar, I'm going to be looking for the ledges that are a little bit shallower, maybe a little bit off the wall, maybe down a straight ledge, just idling for, a half a mile and just coming across the school. I think those are the spots that you're really going to have to do well in the Lake Guntersville event.
All right. Talking about Lake Guntersville, I'm curious, are you going to do more fishing or looking during practice?
Honestly, how I've done it in the past, Fork, the shallow bite was so good at Fork, I just got sucked into that in practice and just spent tons of time up shallow. Honestly, looking back on it, maybe I should have just stayed out offshore the whole time. But at Guntersville, I think I'm going to do it kind of what I do at Kentucky Lake, and it'll probably be about 80% idling around and really only about 20% fishing. I'm going to fish for the first hour of the day, trying to get on a good topwater bite. But then after that, the next 11, 12 hours of that practice day, I would say 80% of that time will be idling around. And then if there's not a boat nearby and I see a school of fish, I might fire in there a couple of casts. But for the most part, I'm going to be looking at my Lawrence's and just going to be putting a lot of hours on my Suzuki.
All right. On the instant feedback, David in Wisconsin wants to know, and this might be a difficult question for you to answer, but I'm kind of curious too. He says, had you fished it, how would you have approached the 2019 Classic?
The 2019 Classic, that'll be is that the middle of March or first? It's the first of March.
That was the one that Ott just won.
Yeah.
How would you have had you been in it since you're a local guy?
I was already looking forward to the 2020 Classic at Gville.
He put that one out of his memory.
Honestly, I really wanted to fish in that one for the simple fact that I've grown up in East Tennessee my whole life, and every single person I saw at the show, the expo, was asking me why I wasn't fishing in the Classic. But it was still fun hanging out with the fans. But honestly, I would probably have fished that event similar to Wheeler, in the fact it just really covered miles and miles of that shoreline, targeting smallmouth, cranking for smallmouth, because with that dingy water that we had, I knew those smallmouth would be, on those transition banks and little current breaks and stuff like that. So that's probably what I would have done. Ott, he did something that was a little bit more inconspicuous. He was throwing that lipless bait out there over those flats, and honestly, that probably wouldn't have been part of my game plan. So, kudos to him for, kind of keeping that under his hat and pulling it out at the Classic. Because not a lot of guys do that. There are a few guys that do it around here, but not a lot. So that was pretty cool to watch that.
Does that make it easier as an angler? If let's say Wheeler had won it exactly the way you would have fished it, was there a part of you that was like, thank God Ott won it doing something I would never have done?
No. And honestly, Ott's such a good guy. He's a personal friend of mine, and I've known him. I actually competed against him in BFLs when I was 16.
Wow.
So I've literally known him over half of my life. But I'm just super excited for him and his family, for him to win that event. But man, he's got it going on here in East Tennessee. If you look at his open wins and just, his track record on the elite events, he top 10s every single time there's a big event here in East Tennessee. So that right there in itself, just take away the Classic win, which is obviously the best thing he's ever done. Just the consistency that he shows in East Tennessee is really impressive.
Very nice. All right. I'm curious, David in Wisconsin also wants to know, is there anything that you might find during the Guntersville event that you may be able to capture and utilize when you qualify for the Classic in 2020?
Yeah, maybe, some of those shallow ledges, we saw Paul Mueller do it that year that Randy Howe won. So, yeah, there very well could be some spots that I find in 2 weeks during the elite event, some shallower ledges that will play in March of next year. I think the deeper spots for the most part are going to be out of the question. Those, 18 to 25-foot ledges are probably going to be a little too deep for that time of year. But we got my buddy here trying to get in the in the shot.
Just in case you're listening to this on iTunes and not viewing it on the YouTube screen, that is not Brandon Card making those noises. He does have what is it, a yellow lab?
Yeah, yellow lab. This is Buster. He's about 1.5 years old, and he loves to be out here. He's not crying because he doesn't want to be out here. He's simply crying for the fact that we're not putting fish in the boat. He loves.
He's a motivation. He's a motivational dog.
He really is. I'm not making it up, man. But listen, a week and a half ago, I caught about a 7-pound striper. And so all the way since he was a puppy all the way till now, he's just loved licking fish. He went to lick that striper with a crankbait hanging out of his mouth, and he got hooked in the lip.
Oh.
So he was hooked.
Oh.
The striper was hooked at the same time. He was thrashing around. The striper was thrashing around. It was like mayhem, dude. It was insane.
So what'd you do?
He finally broke the split ring of the bait and pulled away, and he had the treble hook in his mouth. And then I was able to turn the striper loose and then go cut the hook out of his mouth. But it was insane, dude.
Oh my God!
I don't think I've ever heard a story like that.
Did you have a? That's when you need a GoPro. If anybody needs to video something.
Wow.
Yeah, I was going to pull out my phone and just video that treble hanging out of his mouth, and I was like, I just need to get it out of his mouth. He's sitting over there whimpering. And,
oh, yeah.
So he was like, not like, he was like, oh.
No, yeah, he was in some serious pain.
I mean, there's certain dogs that would be like, let's just attack this thing in my mouth, but he was more mellow about it.
Whimper.
Yeah, he was pretty tore up about it. But then listen, now every fish that we catch that's like bigger, that's like anywhere close to a striper size, he's scared of them now.
Okay.
Wow.
So he only wants to like lick little fish.
He's an MLF fish, Brandon. He's an MLF dog now.
I did not say that. That is Matt at basszone.com, folks. If you want to send the email,
it's all in good fun, Mark.
Wow. All
Look,
right.
Brandon's smiling.
I'm smiling too. Once again, that is Matt at basszone.com. All right,
You're just
Brandon.
trying to deflect some of the heat from you. Your mailbox has been on fire.
Oh, no. All right,
Boy Doug's going to let you have it, Matt.
I know.
All right. I'm curious, Brandon, why did you not fish the Opens this year?
Well, to be completely honest with you, I would like to see more elite events on the schedule. I mean, I like fishing the opens, but the payouts are not as good as they need to be, in my opinion. Buster, you're gonna have to calm down, buddy. Brian can. We're gonna have to do something about this dog. I would like to see the payouts a little bit better, just to be completely honest. But yeah, and I mean too, like there's a couple of the back-to-back events where they don't line up, good, where like you have to leave one event and haul tail and go to another one and then come back to an elite event. And so just that was really the main reason.
I got you. All right. What would you say is the best part of your game right now?
I mean, I love the topwater fish. I mean, obviously, I've won a lot of money on my Yozuri 3DB pencil over the years. I mean, everybody likes the topwater fish, but I would say ledge fishing is definitely in my wheelhouse. I love to flip and pitch, but for whatever reason, I was telling my buddy the other day, I haven't got on a very good flipping bite this year, which is really surprising. So it's just kind of weird how these lakes line up, and some years you just jack them, flipping a jig and a creature bait everywhere you go, and then there's other years where you're finesse fishing. And honestly, that's kind of what I've been doing a lot of in some of the shallower events, is really leaning hard on the finesse stuff. A lot of wacky rig and Senkos, a lot of Nico rig and Senkos. That played big for me, early on in the season. And, that's one part of my game that I feel like I'm getting better at, is finesse fishing. And so that's kind of handicapped me in the past, of just, as they say, swing for the fences. But, really and truthfully, that has hurt me in the past, is just not, putting down, that jig and picking up a wacky Senko or, a Nico or whatever I needed to do. So I'm definitely doing more of that now, for sure.
We've seen what you did at Lake Texoma. We saw what you did the first half of Ross Barnett with that little walking bait that you're talking about. Do you think, 100% topwater wins are few and far between? I mean, we're talking like back in the Zell Rowland days. Mm-hmm. Do you think that it's possible in this day and age to win an Elite Series event all 4 days, wire to wire, throwing nothing but a topwater, or do you think you'll always have to mix something else in to get a fish or two?
I mean, the competition is getting so tough, and the finesse game's getting so good now. I think when you have 4-day events, one of those days is going to be a super high pressure, and it's going to be really tough. But yeah, if the weather cooperates, you could pull it off. And honestly, Drew Benton came close to doing that last year at Travis, and that was one of the tournaments where, whenever I missed the day 3 cut and I was watching what he was doing, I was like, are you kidding me? Because like I was on the fringe of that bite. Like I wasn't getting enough topwater bites to really commit to it, but I was getting enough to mix it in. And he just committed to it and kept throwing it all day. And, I think he mixed in a few of those marina fish on a spoon and stuff like that. But that was definitely an event that I really want back, is that one, after seeing what he did. And then, Wheeler finishing second, throwing a lot of topwater too.
All right, next question then. And I could be totally wrong on this, but do you pretty much just throw bone exclusively?
Well, I throw bone a lot, but if it's clear water, or if it's like real sunny conditions, then I'll throw like the prism shad. And so that's kind of like a translucent, kind of a hologram finish, and looks really good in the sun and some of those clear lakes.
And then I'll ask one more, since we're at it, and I'm interested in this, and it helps me in my fishing and hopefully some of our listeners. You seem to throw that pencil bait in some non-traditional areas too. I remember, some kind of muddy, off-colored water around deeper marina slips. You like to get it up in tight stuff. It's not just get on a flat, bomb it, and walk it back during the shad spawn. Talk about, do you think that's part of your success with it, is kind of almost to an extent like what Rojas first did with the frog, where he was putting it where where they'd never seen it before.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I really do think that. I mean, it's probably the best casting walking bait I've ever used. You know, a lot of the other, like some of the other ones, like the spooks and stuff, they're a little bit hard to like get a pinpoint cast in there. It'll catch the wind, they'll wobble, they'll roll over on themselves. You know, this one has a nice, like one knocker. It's compact size. It's a heavy bait. So, you know, that one knocker will slide to the rear of the bait, and you can just like literally just put it in there. You know, kind of what some of those other guys do with the P70s, you know, some of those old Pop Rs and stuff like that. So I'm putting this walking bait in places that other guys are putting poppers in. And then also, yeah, like some of that dingier water, it's just got a real loud knock. And, you know, I think it draws those fish up out of that muddy water. And we actually finally got us a larger version. So now I have a 3-hook version. So I'll be able to, you know, it's more of like a 5-inch profile. So I'll be able to throw that even in dingier water and over deeper water as well. So
we might have to hook Jeffries up with that. If there's 3 hooks on a topwater, Jeffries wants it. You know, he once put a second mortgage out on his home to get his hands on some 3-hooked Zell rolling spooks.
Do you remember those, Brandon? Do you remember those? It was a.
I don't. I do not remember that.
Yeah, it was back in the early '90s. It was a signature series that Zell came out with.
It's small. It's the size of a regular spook. It's not a super spook.
Right.
Yeah.
But it has 3 hooks on it.
Wow.
And it's silent.
And it's silent. And you look at eBay, and the last time I looked, I mean, they were going for $40, $50
now
a piece.
They'll be going for 70.
Holy cow.
Yeah. I don't have one.
Can I walk up there?
Yeah. Matt's going to see. I think I've got one sitting over here, but it was quiet. And every time I see Zell, I'm like, dude, you keep telling me you're going to send me a few of those 3-hook spooks, and I never see anything. I never get anything, man. He keeps telling me, yeah, Jeffries, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to get you. Matt's looking over there. I guess there's not one. Is there one in there? Okay, I think he found one. You might be able to see it. I think he just hooked himself. No, does he have it? Which one is it, Matt?
This is the one right here.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I don't know. I'm going to put it up toward the camera. Can you see that?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the size of just a normal spook.
Yeah, but it's got 3 hooks
on it.
And there have been people, I know Tim Hughes at Table Rock, very renowned lure designer, painter, has actually custom painted some of these, and they were going from anywhere from $80 to $120 a piece.
Wow.
So these are big
nuts.
time, man. Big time. I'm surprised you haven't seen one of those, but those are...
well, he's been with...
I know.
How long have you been with Yozuri?
Yozuri? I've been with Yozuri for a while now.
Yeah.
I would say 5 years.
Yeah.
Is that the one you put in your finger?
No. No.
Why is the hook cut off on that one?
I think it just came off.
The hook just broke off?
Yeah, I think it just broke.
Those are the original... those are the original Excaliburs with that twist in the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. I don't know if you can line trick those.
All right, David, once again in Wisconsin, is thinking we're thinking exactly alike here. I want to know what line you throw with your walking baits.
So I'll throw a 40-pound Yozuri Super Braid. I like 30 pounds, 30 cast well, but for whatever reason, I just kind of gravitated towards that 40. You know, I feel like it's just a little bit stronger, but it still casts really, really good. So that's the line I use, and then I'll put just like a little, maybe like a 12 or maybe an 18-inch fluorocarbon, like 20-pound fluorocarbon leader in front. If it's really dingy water, or if I'm fishing around like some really big bush or some really like gnarly bushes or something like that, then I'll just go straight braid. But usually I'll just do that short fluorocarbon leader in front of 40-pound Yozuri Super Braid.
And you don't do a feathered treble on the back of that, do you? You just go straight
rarely.
Cigar.
Yeah, I rarely put a feathered treble on the back of that. I do every now and then. But I feel like when you put that feathered treble, it takes a little bit of some of the back-to-back out of that bait. And so what I want that bait to do is to turn like completely to the side really quick, and then it'll spit water, and then it'll come back around 180 and it'll spit water, and that feather takes some of that 180 turns out of that bait.
What's your hook like when they're on it? What's your hook to or your strike to land ratio?
Well, when I first started using the braid, I was setting the hook like I was setting the hook on mono. So obviously my hookup ratio wasn't that good, but I could walk the bait so much better and make it spit so much better that I was using the braid, because I felt like I was getting way more bites with the better action with that braid than I could with mono. But now I've developed, more of that delayed, kind of reel in hook set. And I have a really high hookup ratio now. So, that's definitely one thing that I recommend is to get rid of the mono. Don't experiment with it during tournament time, because you will jerk the bait away from the fish with that braid. But once you get the hook set down with braid, you can impart so much more action with braid than you could ever imagine with mono.
That's very cool. This has been a really, really good segment, obviously, because it's near and dear to me. Anytime we could talk top water, I like it, Matthew.
I know. Your buddy needs to catch one so the dog has something to do. Tell him to get on it.
So, could you catch one off that riprap right there? Any possibility, or is that just dead water?
Well, I keep waiting for Brian to set the hook on a big one anytime, and he hasn't laid into one yet. So I guess they're all out on the ledges, and we're gonna have to go dredge around for him here in a little bit.
All right, very cool, man. I really appreciate you taking time out and giving us some insight. Matthew, anything else?
No, that's about it. I mean, dude, you look at it, you're 11th at the Angler of the Year, but then you look at the points, and with 75 guys, I mean, you're not out of it for the Angler of the Year.
No, I mean, there's still a lot of fishing left. I mean, it's kind of weird to say that, and we're coming up on June, but the Elite Series schedule is more spread out now than it used to be. So, yeah, I mean, we're essentially just a little over halfway through the season, and still got a lot of fishing left. Obviously, I need to catch them up north with the smallmouth, which I've struggled a little bit in the past with some of the northern smallmouth fisheries. So gotta really step my game up there. But I'm definitely looking forward to Gunnersville, looking forward to coming back out there to Oklahoma in September, fishing Fort Gibson. And it's going to be a fun, next 4 or 5 events. And the points are definitely stacked up top for sure.
One of the good literally northern memories that I have is when I was up there. We had a week to kill. Remember, in between Elite Series events that I was covered, you were fishing, and we went out on one of these random finger lakes. Brandon and I did, and just smoked the pike on the classic Oklahoma red kicker spinnerbait.
Really?
I think they thought they were perch or something, and we just got on this weed line, and the pike were just annihilating that thing.
Big ones too.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Wow. All right, man. Great stuff. Looking forward to seeing you when you come to Fort Gibson. It's like 30 foot high right now, but
that's insane.
Let's hope we get it down a little bit. What's the water levels like there at Watts Bar?
It's perfect. We're at Summer Pool, and honestly, I mean, we've had tons of current the whole entire spring, and it just now kind of started to. Actually, right now it's a little bit too slow. They're not generating much current at all right now, so it's kind of weird how, just a month ago, like a lot of these dams are spilling, and then we haven't had rain in 2 or 3 weeks, and now it's already, back to kind of slow current. So I'm actually, I mean, I hate to say this, but I'm actually wanting some rain. So y'all can just send it my way. But I really feel for you guys because trying to catch a bass in a lake that's 30 feet high is pretty hard. I think Bass and the Bass Pro Tour have done a good job as far as rescheduling those events, because it would have been a complete grind.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, by the way, Matthew, in setting this up, Brandon said that he really liked the 20 feet deep Dancing with the Devil.
Oh, Bob Hamilton.
He thought that was crazy.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that's a wild one.
All right, good stuff, man. Best of luck to you, Brandon, and we'll see you soon, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
All right, great stuff. See you later. All right, there you have it.
I didn't want
to
go too far down the path of that, but I mean, the guys won probably over close to $100,000 on that.
Yeah.
That little Yo-Zuri walking bait, the pencil.
Yeah.
What is it? The 3D pencil or whatever.
Yeah.
So, hell, we got him on there, and he's in a good mood. Why not get as many details as you can?
Yeah,
I remember watching him on, he had a mega bag out of the marina there at Ross Barnett on the first day. And he was taking it, and all those sailboats and boats had those, not the cables, the ropes. Like the swinging ropes that, like, when you get it in there, you're like, dear God, I hope there's not a dock owner here because this is going to require surgery. It's like Velcro when the hook's and it goes in that kind of thick, chunky size rope. Man, he was just skipping that thing around there.
Yeah.
There were 10 guys in the marina, and he caught over 22, 23 on the first day out of
That's cool
leading
stuff.
the damn thing.
That's real cool stuff.
Yeah.
I'm planning Friday, a trip with a gentleman that's been on this show before, the PBA, title holder, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. I should know. I can't remember if he was a Hall of Famer or not. I'm sure he's in some kind of Hall of Fame from a bowling perspective. Steve Wunderlich and I
Are you in any Hall of Fames?
No.
Like a local?
No.
Like you're not in some sort of like weird California bowling, like SoCal California Bowling Hall of Fame?
No.
What did you do though? Both weren't you like the first in ever?
I bowled a sanctioned 300 right-handed and left-handed.
This was were you the first person to ever do it?
At the time, there were 4 people that had done it
on Earth.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe somebody did it in
South
Africa. I have no idea.
There were 4 people that had bowled left.
I was told that there were 4 sanctioned 300s at the time. This was.
Are you ambidextrous?
Yeah, it's 1978 is when it happened. 41 years ago.
What, I mean, did you get a little article in anything?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a big deal.
Was that did you use that as like a lead pickup line? Hey, ladies.
No. I am hoping, here's something, and Steve and I are going to talk about this when we're on the lake Friday, but I'm hoping very soon, I'd say within the next couple of months, to make an announcement on the show. And we'll see. That's all I'm going to say about it. Steve and I are going to
still doing that?
Steve and I are going to talk about it on Friday.
You're still, that's still on the table.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we'll see.
It's not, I mean, don't get these people's hopes up. It's not really technically fishing related.
Oh, far from it.
Yeah.
Far from it. But he has talked also, because he's real good friends with David Ozio, who I know is a PBA Hall of Famer, who's actually a guide on Lake Fork. And we talked about this whole pins and fins thing. Mm-hmm. Combination bowling and fishing. So we're going to talk about that and talk about some
I saw some other thing where they've got like a golf and fishing thing.
Yeah, skins and fins.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, going to be a good time on Friday, though. All right, Frank in Michigan wants to know, do you guys know if there's a buyout clause in the BPT contract for the anglers if the anglers want out of their 3-year contract? I do not have factual information. I have been told that yes, there is. I have been told yes, there isn't. So that's one of those things that I need to reach out to my media contact.
We get that question a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the Angler of the Year standings, I'm sure there's a big chunk of them that are like, can we extend this to 5 years? I mean, you look at how much money some of these guys have made. It's pretty impressive without an entry fee.
I keep bringing up Jared Littner, who is he surpassed the $90,000 mark. And
no entry fees,
and hasn't won a tournament.
What do you say? Give Littner $3,000 a tournament because he typically has some family members with him. He's from California, so no entry fee. $3,000 times 6. He's spent about $20,000. He's made 90, 70 after taxes. The dude's made $50,000 this year.
Yeah, he's having a great year.
He's cleared $50,000.
Great year, and he's kind of a power fishing guy, but at the same time, he knows obviously how to finesse.
Mm-hmm. And he's also got the 2 cups. That's where the money is too. Yeah. The 2 cups that'll be filmed in the dark. I mean, you're looking at the. I kind of feel bad for the small fish dog comment, so I'm trying to even it out here, Mark. Let's just call a spade a spade.
Matt at bassown.com.
No,
folks.
but 90,000, 187,000, 57, 58, 140, 63, 60, 78, 124, 118, 136.
Those are all winners, though.
91, 60.
Non-winners.
There's a bunch of non-winners.
That's what you got to look at. If you won, obviously you got the 100K spot.
Jeff Sprague, not won, $90,000. Brent Ehlers, not one, 57. Mark Rose, not one, 58.
What does Littner have?
Michael Neal, 63. Todd Faircloth, 60. Jacob Wheeler, 78.
What does Littner have?
I'm trying to get down to him.
Oh, he's down that far?
Yeah. Bunch of guys in the 40,000. Yeah, I almost put that through my face.
know.
Andy Montgomery, 6. There he is. 20th place, 91 Gs.
All right. I thought it was 90 grand.
There's a bunch of guys that are well over 30.
Yeah. Hey, Brandon brought up something that I really haven't thought about since it got postponed, but how critical of an event is that Fort Gibson event going to be in the grand scheme of things? Classic spots.
Massive.
Requalify.
It's going to give...
everything.
Out of the 75 guys, by the time those guys get done with Fort Gibson the middle of September,
yeah,
I'm just going to have a little stand by the ramp selling Pepto-Bismol for $20 a bottle, and I'm going to make a fortune. I'm not going to have to do BTL for a month after that.
I am so intrigued by that event. And here's the other thing, Matthew. You know there's been a history of guys that if they think that they're in contention before the cutoff, whatever that cutoff is, that they go and they practice and they check it out. I really believe with everything that's taken place here in eastern Oklahoma, I know September's a long ways away, but dude, I'm telling you, that lake is not the same.
No.
And it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, no, but the way that they typically catch them there in September, I mean, yeah, the water could be up and it could be a total different thing and a flipping deal, but I think it would behoove the anglers, if you're not familiar with Fort Gibson, to get on that lake for 3 or 4 days and do a lot of idling once you know what you need to be looking for.
Yeah.
I don't care if the water a month and a half, 2 months before that is dirty and high.
That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, no,
that is necessary.
If there is one, because I mean, and I've gone through this when I started fishing Gibson, I think everyone has, you go through it where you're like, oh, that's how they set up here? Okay, now I got to go find more of that stuff. Yeah. And the stuff you're looking for is just on mud, normal looking banks. You know, those hard spots, the gravel piles, the foundations, all that are in that 6 to 9 foot range.
Yeah. And you can really break that lake up in September in about 4 different sections.
Let me see if I can do. Up the river.
That's one.
Depending on if they're pulling current.
Right.
Then we'll just go that down lake and that clear water,
that's
those 2 arms. What is it, like 14 mile and Ranger Creek. Yeah. Then you have that whole kind of Jackson Bay area, mid-lake, that you've got some kind of offshore stuff with some brush piles in it. And then up past Flat Rock.
That's it. And whatever area that you choose, it's going to be crowded.
Damn, I don't even fish Gibson that much. I kind of impressed myself that I knew those 4 areas.
No, you're dead on. I mean, that's it. And it's going to be crowded. There's going to be spots, certain foundations, rock piles, bushes, banks.
Yep.
But
Luke Palmer.
We'll see.
Luke Palmer is the new Biffle.
Yeah.
He's the new Biffle, because Biffle ain't going to be fishing him. You'll be able to hear him mowing his yard.
Well, he lives south of there, but that's okay. He's a little ways south, down by McGee Creek. You still haven't been to McGee Creek. Not a good time to go to McGee Creek now.
No,
not a good time.
I mean, that could, you look at the Angler of the Year standings there, I mean, that could do world of good for Mr. Palmer.
All right, man. Anything else?
No, that's it. That was a good show. I learned some stuff from Brandon Card. I felt bad for the puppy, but he seemed like a trooper.
He wanted some fish, man.
I couldn't imagine the chaos. I know how chaos it is when there's a saw guy on one end and me on the other end. Now imagine if it's a 7-pound striper and a dog that are attached together.
Yeah, I bet. You're right, man. That would have been quite epic, but he cared about the dog instead of the camera.
He's a good dude. He's been around, and one thing I wanted to ask him that I didn't get to is if is he to the point where he's mentoring people now? I mean, he has the same path as most of these new guys coming up as far as the collegiate fishing, opens, elite series. So,
we'll have him on again. All right, great stuff. Tomorrow, James Watson live from the Rock during his final day of practice before he redeems himself.
Him and Mike, they're both going to cash.
All right. There you have it.
You want to put $5 on it?
I don't know. I'll think about it. We'll make that call tomorrow. All right, everybody, be safe. Enjoy what you can. Be safe. We're out of here.